Good evening, yarnies and dirty hookers. How is everybody tonight? It's a little late coming into stream tonight, but I'm here now. Had to do some housekeeping and some setting up of things here for the stream. Just double check this one other thing. Music is good, I think. I think that's... I think everything's running the way it should run. We'll see. Hey there, Lumberjacks lady. How are you? So we're going to get back to teaching. We haven't really taught here on the stream besides Throwback Thursdays. Haven't done that since July. So we're going to get back to what my channel's known for. You doing all right? Well, that's good. It's better than the alternative. Let's see. Alrighty, I need to get something to drink because I'm a little parched. I was eating some tortilla chips before I went live. Alrighty. So, we're going to get right into it tonight. We're going to send off summer. Goodbye to summer. I'm personally not a fan. Don't like the heat, even though it's still going to be hot here well into September. But in our minds, we're going to cool off. So we're going to start tonight with our little Popsicle Applique. This is not my pattern. It's real simple, though. But it's not my pattern. It is from the blog Maria's Blue Crayon. Hey, Seagam. How are you? It's from the blog Maria's Blue Crayon. If you want this pattern, just type in !Popsicle, Popsicle. It should also come up randomly throughout the stream tonight. It's a simple, I think there's 13 rows, but they're real short rows because they're real small and narrow, as you can see. You can pick whatever colors you want. Tonight we're going to mix it up. Similar colors, but mix it up a bit. I did these in my sample. Well, one of my favorite mods. I did this sample in cotton yarn. Tonight we're going to be doing it in acrylic. I've chose this color as our popsicle stick color. And similar colors to our sample, we're going to do them in a different order. I have very little yellow, so I'm going to try to end it with it. Hopefully we have enough and not run out of yellow. We'll see. So, let's get started. Again, this is not too complicated. It's pretty much half double crochets and half double crochets two together. And then of course your chain or whatever. And I think that's the only stitches that are in it. Yeah, it's just half double crochets. So we're going to start with our first color of our popsicle. The stick is done last. So we're going to start with our first color. Again, you can do whatever color you want. Your flavor, it's up to you. You're in control of what you want to make, what you want to eat. So we're going to start with our first flavor, and we're going to chain 11. So what is everybody else working on tonight? If you're crocheting along with me, let me know. So you don't want to eat wool? Okay, don't eat wool then. This isn't wool, this is acrylic, but still, you don't want to eat yarn, that's fine. If you're crocheting along with me, let me know so I can go slow enough for everybody. So we're going to chain 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So if you're crocheting along, and there's the popsicle pattern right there. That's the pattern we're doing at the moment. Let me zoom in a little bit closer. So we got 11 chains. And then in the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a half double crochet and a half double crochet in every chain till the end. So we'll have 10 half doubles. Yes, we're gonna do a half double into the second. Some people would always allow for 2 chains for your turning chain, but that's not necessary in this. So we're gonna do a half double into the second chain from the hook. So you're gonna skip the first one. You're gonna wrap your yarn. You're gonna wrap your hook. Go into the first chain. Yarn over. Go through all 3, and you're gonna do that for all of the chains all the way across. Again, basic stitch. And this happens to be my favorite of the basic stitches. Out of the chain, the slip, the single, the half double, the double, the triple, etc. My favorite is the half double. It's just a little different than the rest. You get a little more height than a single, a little less than a double, and then also they're quicker. They don't take as long as a double. Okay, real basic. We've got our 10 half double crochets into our chain. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to do 10 half double crochets all the way across. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Getting that last one's a little tight, a little difficult, but we can do it. And we've got 10. Simple. This is like reminiscent of when you first start to learn to crochet. You do a little, usually do a little sample. It's pretty much what this is. Now, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to do that one more time. 10 half double crochets all the way across. Seven, 8, 9, and 10. And let me see if I can get into that last stitch. Before I finish off this last stitch, our 10th stitch, I'm not going to finish completing it because we're going to change color. So I'm going to go to this blue color. It's more of a aqua turquoise to me, but it's showing up probably more blue for you. And I'm just going to join my second color and finish with my second color. And I'm going to pull the tails tight. And then what we're going to do, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And yes, you're going to do 10 half double crochets all the way across. Again, it can't get simpler than this. I mean, it could if it was all singles. It's real quick and easy to whip up. If you want a little fun embellishment for whatever. It's whatever flavor you want. I don't know. I guess this is fruit punch. I don't know. Again, you can change up the colors if you want to do like tans and browns. You can do like a fudgesicle. I mean, if you want to do all one color, that's fine too. So there's another, that's one row. We're going to chain one and turn. And we're going to do 2 more rows of this. So we did 3 of our first color, 3 of the next. 2, 3, 4. You know, it actually sounds good right now. A lime popsicle. That was always one of my favorite flavors. I mean, I like cherry but lime. Lime sounds really good. Too bad I don't. Well, I do have some lime green cotton yarn, but well, yes, actually, ice cream is in all of our future because after we're done this, we are going to do the ice cream cone stitch. So what is everybody's favorite flavor of popsicle or ice cream? Let me ask you that. And we're talking about food, so Seagam will probably chime in if he's still here. So I'm just doing 3 rows of half double crochet for each of these. Lemon, oh, well, I knew you would like lemon. Lemon popsicle, lemon ice cream. Do they even make lemon ice cream? They probably do. Alrighty. So we're at the end of that row. Well, I always love mint chocolate chip ice cream. I would always pick out a grape popsicle. Grape is good. Me personally, I'm not a fan of mint and chocolate together. I like mint and I like chocolate, but I don't like the combination together. And for anything, like Thin Mints, no. Bomb Pops. Yep, Bomb Pops are good. Like I said, lime would probably be one of my favorite popsicle flavors. Ice cream, I have 2. Cookies and cream. Always cookies and cream is my go-to. My second favorite is Dutch chocolate. It's different than regular chocolate. It's not Dutch. It's not from the Netherlands. But it's a process that they do to the chocolate. It makes it smoother and creamier. Oh, Dutch chocolate is really good. And then what's good is you have a couple scoops of your Dutch chocolate ice cream and a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter. I'm a peanut butter fan. Alrighty. So we have our 3 rows of our first color, 3 of the second, and then we're going to join our third. And our third, let me double check this. Okay. Chain 1 and turn. And we're going to do 1 more row of half double crochets all the way across. Believe me, it's going to get more exciting than this. We're not just going to do half double crochets all the way across and you're going to have a big old square. We are going to round it off at the top like popsicles usually are. Okay, we've got our first row of our third color. Again, we have 3 rows of our first, 3 of our second. In this next color, we have 1 row, and now we're going to turn, chain 1 and turn. And this is where we're going to do our half double crochets 2 together. And, okay. So in the first 2 stitches, we're going to focus on the first 2 stitches, and we're going to do a half double crochet 2 together. So we're going to yarn over, go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, just like you're going to do a half double crochet. Keep the 3 on your hook, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, Now we have 4 on the hook, yarn over through all 4. That is half double crochet 2 together. The next 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are going to be regular half double crochets. Oops. The yarn split. It's not the best yarn, but it's what I got. So you did half double crochet 2 together, and you got 6 half double crochets, and at the end we're going to do half double crochet 2 together. Essentially what we're doing is we're decreasing at the beginning and the end. So yarn over, go in, so that's like a half double crochet, yarn over, and go in again. Wait, did I do that right? Let's frog this. I don't think I did the half double crochet 2 together the correct way. Yes, even I make mistakes. Let's try that again. We're going to chain 1 and turn, yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, go in, bring up a loop, 5 on the hook. Yeah, because I remember when I did it the first time, there's only 4. So let's try that again. I'm trying not to confuse everyone as I'm confusing myself. So we're going to yarn over, go in the first stitch, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, go in the next stitch, bring up a loop. Now we have 5 on the hook. Yarn over through all 5. There we go. That is a correct half double 2 together. Then the next 6, again, will be half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we're going to do the half double 2 together once more. Yarn over, go in the first stitch, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, go into the last stitch, bring up a loop, we have 5 on the hook, yarn over through all 5. Okay, there we go. So now the third and final row of our flavor, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do half double crochets 2 together all the way across. Yes, okay. Yarn over, go into the first, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, go into the next, bring up a loop, 5 on the hook, yarn over through all 5, and we're going to do that 3 more times. So we're going to focus on the next 2 stitches, yarn over, go into the stitch, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 5 on the hook, yarn over through all 5. So that's the second one made. Now the next 2 stitches we're going to focus on, yarn over, into the stitch, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 5 on the hook, yarn over through all 5, and now we do it one more time. Yarn over, into the first stitch, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, ignore my little knot here, 3 on the loop, on the hook, yarn over, go into the last stitch, and that last stitch, because it's the turning chain, or the stitch from the previous row, is always a little tight. Bring up a loop, 5 on the hook, yarn over through all 5. I made my stitches a little too tight there. Let's try that again. Bring through all of them on your hook, and then I'm going to chain 1, and that chain 1 is just a finish. So we've chained 1, I'm leaving my hook in the loop, I'm going to cut, and I'm going to take the hook and pull it, and when I pull it, it's going to pull that tail through that chain, and then you can weave in your ends when you want to. When you're all done, you can do it now. So I'm just going to cut all the tails. So our popsicle's pretty much done. We just got to add the stick to it because it's kind of messy if you hold on to just the popsicle. So I'm going to move my flavors. There's my flavors. To the side. I'm going to get the popsicle stick color. And now we're going to turn the popsicle upside down. And I'm going to attach this stick color with a standing half double crochet. And we will do it in the 4th stitch from the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one right there. I'm going to get a stitch marker so we all can see where we're going to go into. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. I'm going to put a stitch marker right where we're going to go and work into. So that's going to be where we're going to join. To do a standing half double, I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook with my new color. I'm not even going to touch the rest of my piece. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to, with my index finger, I'm going to hold both loops on there. And in that stitch, where that stitch marker is, and it's kind of difficult to do it while the stitch marker's in there, but I'm going to try. Again, it's the 4th one over from the edge. It doesn't matter if it's flipped over. I'm going to go in, pick that up. So I still have this on the hook. I've got the slip knot and the yarn over held with my finger. I've gone into the stitch, and I'm going to bring up a loop through the stitch. And I'm going to yarn over through all 3. And that's a standing half double. I can remove the stitch marker now because that was just telling me where to put it. So there's one there. You can join any other way you want. If you're going to join with a slip stitch, that's fine. Just make a half double in that space. Now the next 4 are the next 4. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the next 4 spaces, you're going to put a half double. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have a total of 5 of them. If you think that's a little too much, you can only do, a total of 4. I've got 5 there. I think I'm going to do a total of 4. It looks a little more balanced. I don't want my stick too far over to the side. So that's row number 1. Now you're going to do 3 more rows. But the next 2 rows are going to be identical to this. The 4th row is going to be different. So chain 1 and turn. And then each of these stitches, we've got 4 stitches. They're each going to get a half double. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1 and turn, and do that again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Real easy. And now our last row are half double crochets 2 together. So chain 1 and turn, and the first 2 stitches we're going to focus on. We're going to yarn over, go into the first one, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, go into the next one, bring up a loop, 5 on the hook, yarn over through all 5, and we're going to do that again for the last 2 stitches. Yarn over, go into the first stitch, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, go into the last stitch, bring up a loop, we have 5 on the hook, then yarn over through all 5, and once you do that, chain 1. That chain 1 is going to be our finishing it's not really a stitch, but it's going to help us finish and tie off. And then we're going to cut, pull through, pull tight, and you can weave in your ends. I'm not going to weave in the ends here, but you got a cute little popsicle. Real easy to do. You can make a bunch of these, apply them to an existing basic granny square, like a solid granny, and then make it whatever you want with them. So it's real cute, quick and easy, great for scraps. So that is the Popsicle Applique, again from, what's the blog, Maria's Blue Crayon? Yes. Again, it's not my pattern, but thought I would show that as something quick and cute for the summertime. I need to get myself a little drink because I've been talking a lot. And let's check that. Alrighty, are we ready for ice cream? No? Okay. Are we ready for ice cream, everybody? If not, we won't have ice cream. I gotta find what I'm gonna use for the background. And let me double check something that I need for that. I need to find a yarn to use as my background for the what do you call it? The ice cream stitch. And I was not prepared for that. I don't think I have enough gray for my sample. I'm not going to make a sample this wide tonight, but I need to find something. Blue will work. We're going to use blue as our background. Alrighty, when we get to doing the ice cream cone stitch, again, the ice cream cone stitch is a pattern from the Crochet Crowd on YouTube. If you're interested in this pattern, it's a video. Obviously, it's YouTube because it's a video because it's YouTube. Words. You can type in the command exclamation ice cream cone. The link for that, for Mikey's video tutorial on it will be there. Be on there. Words. I can't today. I can't. Again, not my pattern, but when I saw this, I was like, right there. Oh, there. I thought it came up automatically, but I didn't see in here. Clay Miko. How are you doing, Clay Miko? So that is the link to the Crochet Crowd's tutorial on this. So I'm just basically showing again what he did. It's not my pattern. I'm not taking credit for it. When we get to it, when we get to the ice cream cone scoops, I'm going to have you guys pick the flavors. But when we get there, we're not there yet. We have to do the background and the cone first before we can put the ice cream on the cone. So are we ready for this? So my background, where it's gray here, I'm going to use this blue. And I'm going to pull up my instructions. I had to write it down so I remember how to do it. For this pattern, it's a multiple of 3. So your chain will be whatever multiple of 3 you want. I'm going to do 12. This sample was a whole lot more. I think this sample was like 30, I think. So we're going to do my sample here that we're going to do on stream. I'm going to do 12 because I don't need to do that many of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Actually, no, we're going to go a little wider than that. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, we'll do 21. Again, if anybody is crocheting along with me, let me know so I can go slow enough for everyone to keep up with. I don't want anyone to get left behind. So you can make this as wide as you want. Again, the chain is a multiple of 3. Okay, once we have our chain, the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a single crochet. And we're going to do singles all the way to the end. So in my case, I have 21 chains. I'm going to have 20 single crochets. Because we go into the second from the hook, so we skip that very first chain. So far, basic intro to crochet. You're just doing a single into your chain, which is not my favorite to do. You can also do the foundationless no, not the foundationless, the chainless foundation if you want to. That could be our new catchphrase, no dirty hookers left behind. Exactly. Exactly. Alrighty. So whatever your multiple of 3 is, chain that many, and then second from the hook, do single crochet and a single crochet into every stitch remaining. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a tight stitcher, so when I go into the chain, it always twists. But the more stitches you put in there, it will untwist. That's just how it is. So, row 2. Row 2s are going to chain 1 and turn. And in the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, are each going to get a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 1 and skip 1. So we chain 1, skip 1, and then the next 2 each get a single. That is your pattern all the way to the end. You'll end with 2. The last 2 stitches will each get a single. So you start with a single, then the next one a single, chain 1, skip 1, and then do a single in the next, and then in the following one do another single. Again, if you're crocheting along with me, let me know if I'm going too fast. Again, the first 2 each get a single, chain 1, skip 1, the next 2 each get a single. So now I've come to it where I chain 1, I'm skipping 1, and the next 2 get singles, 1 and 2, chain 1, skip 1, the next 2 get singles. This chain 1, skip 1 is going to be very, very important in future rows, because that chain 1, skip 1 is where the base of our ice cream cone will sit. So we need that space when we get to it to put our ice cream cone in, because those are extended stitches, so it needs a place for them to sit. So chain one, skip one, the next two get singles. Chain one, skip one, the next two get singles, single in each. Chain one, skip one, and then I have 2 stitches at the very end. Each of those get 1 single. That is row number 2. Now, when you work it up, you don't really see those holes. You kind of have to open these up a bit to see them. When we get further along, we'll open them up to see where they actually are. Because it's a single crochet, you don't really see it. If it's a double crochet, it's a bigger hole. Row number 3. Row number 3 is we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we'll single crochet into each of the stitches, and we'll do a single crochet into that chain space. So the first one gets a single, the next one gets a single, the chain space gets a single, and then so on. So each of the next 2 stitches get a single, the space gets a single, and that you work it all the way to the end. You'll have the same amount of singles as you had on the first row. So I'm just going into the space, and I'm going into each stitch. And that is row number 3. Once you do row number 3, you can kind of see these holes a little bit better. Again, they're still a little small because they're singles. But that is row number 3. Oh, and by the way, this is a 9-row repeat. Well, technically it's an 8-row repeat, technically. We have to do 9 rows, but then you're going to repeat it again. You do rows 2 through 9. Alright, so row number 4. 4 and 5 are the same, and they're easy. So you're going to chain 1 and turn. And you're going to put a single into each stitch. So 4 and 5 are exactly the same. You're just doing singles all the way across. So this is row number 4 that we're on. So far, this is pretty basic crochet. It's not until we get the cone and the ice cream where it gets a little more interesting. And those of you who weren't here earlier when I asked, what is your favorite flavor of popsicle or ice cream? So now I'm on row number 5, and it's exactly the same. We're just doing singles into every stitch. And yes, I crochet tight, so everything's going to curl. But that's where stretching and blocking and all that comes into play. Okay. So that is row number 5. Row number 6 is where we're going to change, and we're going to add our cone color. So before I finish that last stitch, I'm going to join with a new color. You can join however you want. I'm going to join Just like this, it'll finish the last stitch of the previous row. If you want to completely finish off and join with like a standing or a slip stitch, that's fine too. So I'm just going to put my new color on and pull through, and that will complete the stitch and make it ready for the next row. I am going to cut my blue tail because I don't need the blue right now. So this is the ice cream cone row. Let me double check something. Alrighty. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. I don't like popsicles so much, but I do like fudgesicles. I'm boring when it comes to ice cream. I like specifically Friendly's chocolate. Is it just chocolate? Or is it Dutch chocolate? Or any other chocolate? It's been forever since I've been to Friendly's. I like Dutch chocolate and I like cookies and cream. Alrighty, so we chained 1 and turned. Old-fashioned chocolate. Well, excuse me. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet cookie dough. Cookie dough's okay. And we're going to single crochet in our very first stitch. Just do a regular single crochet. This row we're going to start and end with a regular crochet in our very first stitch. Now, the next we're going to do, after this we're going to do 3 extended double crochets into that space that we did down on row number 2. So let me explain. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to go drop down. We're on this was row number 5. We're going to go, well, we're on 6, but the last row of the blue was 5. We're going to go down to row number 2 where we did that chain 1 space. Alrighty, that's fine. We'll be here. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to drop down the hook into that hole, into that space, and bring up a strand, but you want to bring it up really tall, and you don't want to curl or scrunch up your previous rows. And then you're going to do a double crochet. That's an extended double crochet. You're going to do that 2 more times in the same space. Yarn over, go in, bring it up, bring up that loop really tall, make certain your previous rows are kind of flat, and you don't want to have too much slack on your cone stitches. And you're going to finish your double crochet. This is going to take some time and some practice to get used to get your tension. So you're going to yarn over, go into the hole 1 more time, bring it up, and kind of flatten it out as I go, and then do our last extended double crochet. So that is our first cone. You're going to do that all the way across. You're not going to stitch into any of these stitches. You're going to do your single at the end, your 3 extended into the space from row number 2, and now you're going to do the same thing. You do 3 more extended doubles into the space from row number 2. So you're going to go right into it. So yarn over, go into the next, bring up a tall loop, and do your double. It also helps to have a lot of slack on your yarn so you're not fighting with it. So there's 1. Yarn over, go in, bring up a loop, bring it up somewhat tall, and do your double, and do it 1 more time. And you're going to do this all the way across. Yarn over, go into the space from row number 2, bring up a loop, yarn over through both, just like it was a regular double. You're going to do 3 into that chain 1 space from that very from your second row when you first started. This will create a padded feeling to it because you're adding extra strands to your work, and it will be the same on both sides. It's the only time that this pattern will be reversible. When we do the ice cream scoops, it won't be reversible. Yarn over, go in, bring up a loop, and go through and finish your stitch. And it's important to have that loop to be kind of tall. And I've got a couple more to do. Alrighty, we get to the very last one. We're still going to do our 3 extended. Two. And then 3. So we've got all of our little ice cream cones. My sample, I've got 6 of them. Some of them could be a little... I could have had the slack a little less or a little more. Again, it takes some time to practice. And then the very last stitch of your blue row, you're going to do a single crochet. So you're going to start and finish that row with a single crochet into the previous row. And then the rest of them will be your 3 extended doubles into the chain 1 space from row number 2. Those are your cones. Now we're going to change color, and we're going to pick an ice cream cone. But ice cream cone flavor. Before we do that, I'm going to redo this last stitch. I'm just going to bring it up, and I'm going to finish it with our new color. So this is where you all come into play. You get to choose what color flavors that we have. We have 2 options. What we can do is, if you notice here on the sample here, we've got the big scoop of ice cream, but then underneath we get this little wavy thing. You can look at it as like the ice cream dripping, or it could be another scoop of ice cream, or partial scoop. So now, like when you scoop ice cream will fill the cone, and then more ice cream will sit on top. So this bottom one could be the one that's in the cone first, and then this top one is the one on top. So we can do both of those the same flavor, like we have here with the vanilla, or we can have 2 different flavors. We can have the strawberry and the chocolate. So I'm going to show you my flavor colors that I have pulled that will work. I've got chocolate. Yes, this is chocolate. It's not brown, it's chocolate. We've got some strawberry. Got some vanilla. We've got some mint chocolate chip, and on screen that looks blue, this is a seafoam green in person. The camera likes to play around with colors. So, sorry for you people, like Lumberjack's Lady, that you like mint chocolate chip. That actually is mint. Light in the camera. We got, this is actually a turquoise color. It's the blue that I used in the other one. Blue raspberry, I'm guessing. This is like a wine color. So this can be black cherry. And then we have Tutti Frutti. So when we do this, we're going to do this bottom drippy portion first. What's our flavor? Tutti Frutti? Want Tutti Frutti to be our bottom. Okay. When we get to the next row, the row with these popcorns, we can either continue with this if we have enough, which I don't think we have enough, or we can change our flavor. So we're going to do Tutti Frutti first. So, the way I'm going to do it is to finish the stitch. I'm not going to finish it. I'm just going to join my next one, just like you normally would with a lot of other types of crochet where you change colors. Just going to slip it on there like that. I'm going to cut my tan, because I don't need the tan right now. We're not doing a cone. The cones are done for this row. And we are going to chain one and turn. Okay. The very first stitch, we're going to put a single crochet. That is not in the cone. That's the one at the very end. Now we're only going to focus on these 3 stitches, the 3 stitches in our first cone. We're going to single crochet into the first stitch, chain 2. You could chain 3 if you want your drips or your ice cream cone to be a little more drippy. I'm going to chain 2. The next one we're going to single crochet, chain 2, and then the last one we're going to single crochet. And we're going to have an add. So I will be back. We'll come back to this when we come back from the add. Don't go away. I will return. And welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sitting through that ad break. I know they're annoying, but they definitely help out my channel. I only do them once an hour, so they're not too intrusive. Alrighty, so I restarted this row, so we're not interrupted. So I joined and I did a chain one. The very first stitch, I'm going to put a single. Now we're going to focus on the first ice cream cone. So don't worry about the rest of the stitches, only worry about those first 3 stitches. And then the first stitch gets a single, then chain 2. You can always chain 3 if you want your scoop or the drips of the ice cream to be a little bit bigger. The next one, we're going to do a single, then our chain 2 or 3, and then the next one do a single. Okay? Now we go to the next cone. The first one gets a single, then chain 2, the next one gets a single, chain 2, and the third one gets a single. You're only putting the chain 2 in between stitches of the cone. So right here, we're between 2 different cones. There's not going to be a drip. There's not going to be an extra little extra stitches. The next cone that we come to, the previous one ends with a single. The next one's going to start with a single. So single, chain 2, the next stitch, which is the middle one of the cone, gets a single, chain 2, and then the one on the left side of the cone gets a single. The one on the right of this next cone gets a single, chain 2, the middle one gets a single, chain 2, and the one on the left gets a single, and so on. So again, you're only putting those chain 2 or chain 3 in between stitches of the same cone, not in between cones. So that gets a single, chain 2, single, chain 2, single. Our last cone, first one gets a single, chain 2, then a single, chain 2, and then a single, the last stitch of the cone. And we have one more stitch on the end because we started and ended that row with a single crochet. You're going to do a single crochet right into that stitch. So that is row number, where did we say that was? 7. Okay, that doesn't look like much now. But row number 8, are we going to stick with Tutti Frutti, or are we going to choose a different color? I think we could stick with Tutti Frutti if you wanted to. We could choose a different flavor. Again, we have chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, blue raspberry, mint, and black cherry. Or stick with Tutti Frutti. Thank you. We're going to stick with Tutti Frutti. That's less ends I got to worry about. But yeah, we can always... The only difference from if you're going to change, it's just changing color. That's the only difference. It's the same stitch. Alrighty. So row number 8, we're going to chain 4. It's 2, 3, 4, and turn. Chain 4, yeah. Chain 4 and turn. And then what we're going to do, and this is the part that's a little tricky, we're not going to stitch into any of this Tutti Frutti color. We're going to stitch into the middle stitch of our cone. So the easiest way is to fold down your ice cream. Fold down your ice cream. That's a phrase that has never been said before, but we're folding down our ice cream, and we're going to find that middle stitch of the cone, so the middle of the tan, and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to go into that stitch and do 6 doubles. So there's 1, Into the same stitch, we're going to do another one. And then we do a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. Again, what we've done is we've taken our first row of our Tutti Frutti, folded it down, and we're going into the middle stitch of the ice cream cone. So we're not going into the previous row, we're actually going into the row one below, which is the tan cone, and we do 6 double crochets, pull up a loop, and then take the hook out, and we're going to go into the very first stitch of that 6, and then we're just going to put the loop on it. We're making a popcorn. Pull through, and then you gotta see how many chains to do. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna do the same thing. If I happen to run out of this in this row, which I might, we'll switch colors. We'll pick a new flavor. So again, we're gonna yarn over because it's gonna be a double. Fold the ice cream down. And we're gonna find that middle stitch, which is right here. So this is the first one and the last one. There's the middle one. Go into that stitch. This is the difficult part of this pattern. It's trying to find the right place to go into. And do 6 doubles. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In Mikey's video on the Crochet Crowd, he said he tried to do 5, and this is his words. He said in the video, it's not as scoopy enough. I guess the popcorn wasn't large enough, so he did 6. He actually says that it wasn't scoopy enough. Do the popcorn, pull through, chain 3, and then you keep going. Yarn over, fold down your ice cream. Again, it's a weird phrase. It's a super weird phrase. And you're stitching into that middle stitch of the cone, and you do 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Maybe that's going to be a new catchphrase for the channel. Fold down your ice cream. And do the popcorn, chain 3. Yarn over for a double. And again, find the middle stitch of this cone. And do 6 doubles. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is really old yarn. Like, it's scratchy, and these colors are very dated. It's very old yarn. I don't know where I got this from. Chain 3, yarn over for a double, and again, now I'll have enough to do the whole row in Tutti Frutti. I was concerned that I was going to run out, but I think we'll have enough. 2, I don't think I went in the stitch. I didn't go in the stitch the right way. I only went in one loop. I need to go in both loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're starting to see it looks like ice cream cones. 5, 6. Doesn't help that my work just curls on itself because, again, tight hooker. Pull it through. 2, 3. and do our last one. So that's 1, 2, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When you get to the end, you do your popcorn. You're only going to chain 2. And then into your ice cream stitch, the very last of the ice cream stitch of the previous row, of the drippy row, we're going to call it, we're going to do a double crochet. Actually, no, it's not into the ice cream row. I misspoke. It's going to be into... We're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to go into the ice cream cone row with that single crochet from that tan row, if we can get in there. There we go. So that is row number 8. And the camera does not like it. This is actually pink. This is like Barbie pink. The camera's showing up totally different from what it is. Oh, there we go. It's more pink. The camera has a problem with reds. A lot of cameras have problems with reds. So, it is more of a Barbie pink. Now, for row number 9, we're going to get our background color, which is the blue, the one we started with. And really what I need to do is to finish it to join. So let me do a little quick join that the proper way. What? The whole thing just slipped right out. I'm having issues tonight. I can't talk. I can't get the stitch to work. Okay, pull that tight. Pull that tight. I'm going to cut my yarn. And now for the last row, it's kind of this row I'm going to show here is where you would finish off the repeat or finish off the row for the project, because it looks a little weird here. It kind of frames it. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to single crochet into the first stitch. We're going to single crochet into the space. We're going to single crochet into the popcorn. And then in these chain 3 spaces, we're going to put 2 singles. Single into the popcorn. Chain 2 space, put 2 singles. Go all the way across. When you get to the very end, that last space, which is a chain 2, gets 1 single, and then you're going to single into the last stitch. But I'll show you when we get there. We singled into a popcorn. This is a chain 3 space, so it gets 2 singles. Single into the popcorn. Chain 2 space, each get 2 singles. Single into the popcorn. 2 singles in this chain 3 space. Single into the popcorn. We have a chain 2 space and a double crochet. So it's going to get 1 single. And then this is actually a turning chain. You're going to find the 3rd chain and do a single into that. That's the repeat. If you wanted to make it a little bit, if this was the edge, I should say, you could always add a couple extra rows in a border for whatever you need. The repeat is you do the exact same thing, but you do rows 2. Row 2 is the row that has the hole for the ice cream cone. You work that row all the way through this row we just did here. You're always going to have your ice cream cones, the scoops, on the same side. You don't want the scoops on both sides. And you can see here, we've got our brightly colored flavors and our ice cream scoops. But on the back side, it's not pretty. You see the back sides of the popcorns.
Thanks for the follow.
Thank you for the follow, Willow Grove Girl. How are you doing? So there is a right and a wrong side. This is the wrong side. That's the right side. And with the popcorns and these series of singles and chains, and even the cones, because the cones have some texture. It's very textured. If you wanted to, and you were ambitious enough, and you like weaving in lots of ends, I'm doing good. I'm doing good playing with some ice cream here. If you want to, within the same row, you can change flavors. You'd have to stop and start your different colors and flavors if you really wanted to. It's a lot of ends to weave in. The only other variation, I'm not going to do it on stream, it's the exact same thing here. But if you want to have multiple flavors in your cone, again, you can, when you do your series of singles and chains for that row, the next row for the popcorn stitches for your big scoops, just change color. That's all you have to do. I was thinking if there was a way to do a triple scoop ice cream cone. And the problem with that is no. Well, there probably is a way, but I can't think of off the top of my head. But if you did this row of popcorns, and then you flipped and you did another row, your popcorns are going to be on the other side. So I was trying to think of a way that you can add another scoop on top of the one here. Yeah, not really certain. But that's the ice cream scoop again. This is the ice cream cone pattern from the Crochet Crowd on YouTube. If you want his tutorial, he's the one who designed it. Exclamation point ice cream cone. And if you want the written pattern, this was a written pattern for the popsicle, exclamation point popsicle. This is from the blog Maria's Blue Crayon. It's all written out. You don't really need a pattern for this. It's super, super easy and simple. You can do your half double crochets and half double crochets two together. You're good with this. So that is our, I guess you would call it, send off to summer. That summer's coming to an end. Personally, I think that's a good thing because I'm not a fan of the warm weather. But I am a fan of treats, of cold treats. Yummy, yummy, yummy treats. So if you were here earlier and didn't answer, or if you weren't here and want to answer, what is everyone's favorite popsicle or frozen ice or whatever you want to call it flavor, and or your favorite ice cream flavor? Mine would be probably lime popsicle. Lime's one of my favorites. And for ice cream, either cookies and cream or Dutch chocolate. And if there's any of these you want me to see, if you want to see me do any of these again, or to continue, I can. If not, we're not going to end the stream. I think we're going to transition over to Project Linus blankets in a second. I'm going to put all my ice cream flavors away. Coconut popsicle. Ooh. I don't know if I've ever had a coconut one. Cookies and cream or homemade vanilla bean ice cream. Occasionally, as a kid, we would make homemade vanilla ice cream. I don't know if it was like vanilla bean. I don't think it had, it didn't have actual vanilla bean in it. But homemade ice cream That's a lot. Okay. We didn't have an electric ice cream maker. We had the whole crank thing with the ice and the rock salt, but the thing that had the ice cream in it was only that big, and we didn't do it that often. Yeah, that sounds really good. But yeah, I've never had a coconut popsicle, and I love coconut. Mmm. I want a popsicle. Yeah, it's a lot of work, yeah. But it kept us kids busy, and there were three of us. We took turns cranking that crank. Again, we didn't do it that often. Alrighty. Move this. I gotta get this all situated. I'm running out of room on my desk for everything. Before we work on Project Linus blankets, and I'll explain that when we get into it, what Project Linus is if you don't know what that is. Let me move all of our cold treats to the side. Sneak peek for Tuesday. The next time I'll be on will be Tuesday. I'm not ending the stream. Don't worry. But the next time I stream will be Tuesday. And Tuesday here in the US, well, not Tuesday, but here in the US this time of year, end of August into beginning of September, is back to school. We are in the end of summer, almost into fall, and that's usually when our school year starts. Well, to ring in back to school and to ring in fall, this isn't just for back to school, but it would work for both. And this is one thing I really love also. We are going to be making on Tuesday, these are technically coasters, but they're applique. You can apply them to whatever. You do what you want with them, but we've got some apples. I love a good crisp apple. Past 2 years, I've been apple picking. I think apples that you pick from the tree taste a lot better than the stuff that sits in a grocery store, warehouse, in a grocery store for however long. Last year I didn't get the one variety, but the year before I did, and I never had one before. Most important thing when to crank an ice cream, have a pencil in hand to keep the tiny drainage hole clear, not to clog with ice. Yeah, it's very important, Grammy. And welcome, Grammy. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed, Grammy, next to your name, you have a little diamond. You don't have to do anything. That means you are a VIP member. That basically means you don't have to worry about, and I don't do this, sometimes there will be like chat. Some people who have a lot of chat going on, they slow the chat down so it's not going so fast. You won't have to worry about that, and then there's something else. But again, I forgot what the other thing was, but you are my only VIP member. So, like I was saying, 2 years ago when I went apple picking with a friend of mine, they had this one variety that was ready to be picked called a Stamen Wine Sap. I think that's what it was called. Oh, God, that was so good. So good. You can't find them in the grocery stores here. I don't know the reason. I don't know if they don't last long or whatever. But that was like the best flavored apple I've ever had. I got a bunch of them. So Tuesday we'll be doing this apple. You can either do it in the solid apple or the apple slice, just changing color. It's basically a round, and when you get to a certain point, you do increase and you do something a little different to shape it, and then you add the little leaf and stem. This has got a little loop. You could do a regular, just a stem. You don't have to have a loop. The other idea from this blog, I gotta remember what blog I got this from. Let me just double check. This is from a website called Pattern Paradise. Yeah, this is from a website called Pattern Paradise. The other example they gave, which was kind of cute, you make 2 of these, either both solid, one apple slice, I guess 2 slices. It'd probably work better, one of each like this. And you lay them together, and you stitch them most of the way around, and you leave them a little open, and you fill it with some goodies or treats, and it could be a cute little teacher's gift. Instead of giving an apple to the teacher, you give them this. Or you just want to use them at your own house for whatever. You can use them as coasters. You can use them as appliques, apply them to whatever you want. So, real cute. It's somewhat simple. It's good practice for doing in the round until you get the apple shape. The other thing that we're going to be doing on Tuesday, it's still apple themed. It's the same thing, but instead of an applique or a quote-unquote coaster, we're going to be doing an apple granny square. So we'll make a similar apple, slightly different, and then we'll square it up into a granny square, and then you can piece them together. You can do other different designs. And this one is from the website Nana's Crafty Home. So Tuesday will be our apple day. And now I want a fresh apple. I want a popsicle, and that coconut popsicle sounds kind of good. I want a lime one too. I don't want an apple. I don't want an apple popsicle, but I don't know if in your part of the world, but where I live, summertime, it's very popular on the street corners, side of the road. They'll have stands. They're permanent stands, and they have snow cones, where it's basically Hawaiian ice, shaved ice, or whatever, in the different flavors. I like a sour apple snow cone. That sounds really good. So, all these treats and everything make me hungry. So on Tuesday, we'll have our apple day. I'm going to take a quick little break. I need to use the restroom real quick. When we come back, we will work more on our blanket for Project Linus. So don't go away. I'll be real quick. It's going to be a whole lot quicker than a normal ad break. And I'm back. Alrighty. Let me change this around. Move these pictures out of the way. And where's the thing? Oh, that can go there. That can go there. That can go there. There we go. Oh. That has to go like that. So that's on top. And why is that picture... Bear with me, everybody. There, it's a little bit better. Everything kind of got moved around. That's weird. My settings are all kind of off. Alrighty. So, those of you who are not familiar with Project Linus, and I got to do this other thing. Disable that. Disable that. Enable that. And enable that. Project Linus is a non-profit organization in the U.S. and Canada. They accept handmade, brand new blankets, either crocheted, knitted, quilted, hand-tied, a couple other different. And they really need to look at the whole list. And they distribute them to children in need, ages 0 to 18, that are traumatized, severely ill, homeless, etc. So it is a good cause. And I gotta pull up the pattern. Let's see. Move that. Bring up. Trying to do all the computer things. And computer things are not always working. Well, they're working, but I'm having some issues. But we got it. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to scroll down to the pattern where I left off. And so what is everybody else working on? Either currently as we speak, or we have a whip. Oh, yes. Project Linus does not accept wool, alpaca, etc. to eliminate risk of allergens. Yes. They're going to want non-allergenic fibers. Like acrylic, cotton, that type of thing. But if you're interested, type in !charity. The link will come up for Project Linus, or you can type in you can search on your own the website projectlinus.org and look for a chapter in your area. Each chapter will have different needs for what they are looking for. And let me double check something. Making a Funko Pop style Groot amigurumi. Oh, wow. I kind of know what that is. I'm not really into superhero adventure type movies, but I kind of have an idea what that is. Willow Grove Girl, if you're interested, I have a Discord. If you want, you can join that, and we post pictures on any of our whips or finished objects. We also have suggestions in there. What else do? We help other people if they have questions on things, and not just crochet. This is open for any type of whatever you do, whatever you make, whatever your interest is. You name it. So it's a small little group over there. Let me see something. And we also have a section on there of YouTubers to watch, other creators on YouTube. Plus, we have a section for other Twitch streamers to watch. And anybody who is in the Discord can post links to those creators. So we want to help spread the word of what other people are doing. So it isn't just us. It's spread it out to other creators on this platform or other platforms. And it doesn't have to be just YouTube. If you have some other site, some other blog, you put that in the YouTubers to watch. I think that's about it. Occasionally I'll post some things like useful, like different charts or different types of tips or whatever. I'm looking at it over there. Oh, also, while I'm talking about the Discord, I have a poll over there in the poll section. If you want to, take the poll. I want people's feedback. It's going to be probably open until the end of this week. I am going to be launching a merch store, and in the poll there are 18 different thumbnail images of t-shirts. Want to know what people's likes and preferences are on color combinations of the two different designs. There's one that has a blue ball of yarn with the crochet hook in it, and the other one has a pink ball of yarn with a crochet hook in it. And there are 9 different color t-shirts and what the different color combinations. So once I get all that feedback, then I will make a decision on which color t-shirts. We're going to do both the blue ball variant and the pink one. But then it's going to figure out which color t-shirts to go with each of those. And then the merch store will be open and live. And if you want, you could purchase a t-shirt. That's what we have to start with. We're going to start real small. Since I am a smaller streamer, I don't think highly of myself. I'm going to have all these different products. And the saying on the t-shirt is a reference to our stream. That does say a proud dirty hooker. That is in reference to, I was in a Facebook crochet group a few weeks ago, and somebody asked, how often do you wash your crochet hooks? Well, I thought it was totally bizarre. Never heard of such a thing. I do not wash my crochet hooks. So this is a dirty hook. Yes, I am admitting it, and I'm showing on the internet this is a dirty hook. And that's why we are the home of the Dirty Hookers. So, if you want, take the little poll. If you don't, that's fine. I just want people's feedback. Lumberjacks Lady says, well, I started a knitted shawl on straight needles instead of circulars, and I've reached the point where I need circulars. It shall be placed to the side until I purchase the needed tools. Now I'm switching over to a crochet crop top for a Christmas present. Wow. Yeah. One of these days I'm going to learn to knit. Wow. Learn to knit more than just knits and purls back and forth. Alrighty. Guess I'm a dirty hooker too. Never heard of it. Like, why would you need to? I mean, if I can understand if you're working with sheep's wool that hasn't had all the lanolin removed, because there is such a thing. And if it gets greasy and all, I can understand that. Or, I don't know, whatever reason why you would need to wash them. Like, I don't know. Like, how dirty is your yarn? So, yeah. That is our little claim to fame. Also, for those of you who know, yes, my name is the Crafty Cub, and I'm a dirty hooker. I'm also a tight hooker. I'm also a fast hooker. So I'm a fast, tight, dirty hooker. I admit it. Alrighty. So I'm not going to be teaching how to do this pattern. I'm I'm just going to be working on it. And if anybody's interested, again, it's called the Aiden's Radiating Diamonds Blanket. I am using a vintage yarn, either from the 70s or the 80s. And I had the label. Here's the label. This is the label that this yarn came with. It is very retro. It was purchased originally, not by me, but wherever I got it from. It was purchased at Kmart. And 3.5 ounces for $1.09. You ain't gonna find those types of prices anymore. But this is a free pattern on Ravelry and also on the designer's blog. If you want this pattern, type in !Aiden, A-I-D-E-N. Both links will be there. It is a variation of filet crochet. And they are free patterns. I'm all about free patterns. Alrighty. 3, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Whoops. Got a little knot. I'm running low on this cake of yarn, but I got a whole nother one, so we'll be good for a while. I'm gonna mark this, because if not, I'm gonna lose my space. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Also, anybody who's new or wants to hear it again, at any time if I'm working on something and you have a question about crochet, mostly, so that's mostly what I do here, and it has nothing to do with this project or whatever project I'm working on, feel free to ask. I'm always willing to stop what I'm doing and pick up another ball of yarn and a hook and try to explain and show techniques that might answer your questions. 7, 5, 7, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 7. Do a 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I'm getting confused. 3, 5, 7. 5, 7, 7, 5. And then we do 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. 5, 4, 7, See if I ended with 3. I ended with 3. I counted right. 2 and 3. 2. Alrighty, let's start this up again. 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 3 and 5. I'm going to do 7. Ah! Lost the stitch. 3, 4, 5. Got a knot in here. Okay. 6, 7, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 7, 5, 2 sevens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 and 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alrighty, I think that's the middle of that, yes. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 seconds. 2, 3, 7. 3, 5, and then 3. Yep. Oh, it'd be good if I did a double and not a single. 2. Two, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, there's something I gotta do. Actually, I'll wait to see if Clay Miko comes back. And I'll do it then. 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 5, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 5, 7, 5, 7, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to have another ad break in about a minute or so. So again, I know they're not fun, but they help me out. So I will return after this ad break is over. So in about 3 minutes or so. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for enduring through that ad break. While we were at ad, I just kept working on this round. 3, 5, 7, 5, 2 sevens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 4, 5. 2 sevens, 2, 3, 6, 7, 2, 5, 7 to do. 7, 5. We got 3 stitches. I did a good job of counting. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Do my corner. Let me mark my row, my round. It doesn't take much to confuse me for this. Oh, this is where we add the beginning of the diamond flower. This next row I'm going to do is we're going to start the little diamond flower here. So it's going to be this special little stitch. Let me measure to see where we're at. We're nowhere near 30 by 30 because that is the smallest that my chapter of Project Linus will accept. I think last time we checked we were at 21 something. We're at 23 now. Got at least 7 more inches to go with this. I'm going to go until all of it's done. I've got this, and then, like I said, one more skein. So, I'm going to use it all up. Well, as much as full round will take. Hopefully there won't be much scraps left. And if there is, I'll end up carding it and then possibly spinning it into new yarn. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Would that be something that anybody would like to see me struggle at spinning yarn on an electric spinning wheel? I'm very rusty at it. And it's been months since I've broke that out and used it, so I need to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We do 5. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 2, 4, and 5. 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, to 11. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 5, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, do a little flower thing. Three and four. One, two. Whoopsies. Skip the slit. Lost. Snag the stitch. Not skip or lose. I snagged it. 3, 4, and 5. Like I said, words are tough tonight. 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2. And that row here, we're adding, like I said, a little extra space there, which will be the bottom part of the little flower. So we're getting further and further along. We're getting more of these little motifs going. 4. 2, 3. 2, 4. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 1, 3. That row worked out too. Is this my last row, side of this row? No, I got 2 more sides of this round. I'm gonna have to get the other ball because I'm running very low on that. Alrighty. Make certain I'm doing this the right way. 4, 5, and then 11s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2, 3, and 4. Two, 3. Then we do 5. 1, 2, 11. 2. Yeah, it's 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4. Need to stretch my fingers. Alrighty. Last side of this round. Pretty soon we gotta add the new cake. Or the last cake, I should say. Again, for being vintage yarn, it's really not that scratchy. I mean, it's not the softest, but I felt worse. 5, 1, 2, 3. Oh. Let me frog that out and fix this nasty, nasty knot that's in it. We're going to do a weaver's knot. I like them because they're easy to do and they're relatively small and they're strong. It's got 11. 11. 5, we do 4, 1, 2, 4, 2, 3. We have another nasty knot. Alrighty, where am I at? Maybe chain 3. 2, 3. Four, 5, 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4, 2, 3. Oh, wait a minute. I only need to change chain 3. Got another one of those knots. I really don't like stitching into a slip stitch. Come on. One, two, three. Mark off another round. Alrighty. Alrighty. I think I'm ready for the next round. If I remember how to do the flower part. Since we have another round done, let's measure it again. I actually made progress tonight. That never happens. We are at a little over 24 inches. And I already see another nasty knot. Does anybody want a tutorial on how to tie a weaver's knot? I've done it before on the channel, on the stream. If you want, I can show it to you again. Let's see. Why is that not updating right? Alrighty. Gotten pretty good at the weaver's knot. When I go to a knot on a skein, I cut it out and retry with the long tails, so it's easier to weave. Yep. I just don't like a really thick knot. The tails can be long, that's fine, because you can weave those in. But the knot itself, I don't want it to be too big, because you'll end up feeling it in the blanket or the project, whatever you're working on. And it makes a pretty strong good at the knot, but typing skills have declined. That's okay. You're also on your phone, so there's the autocorrect feature. Let's see here. 3, 5, and 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Then we can do the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 4, 2, 3, and 4. I gotta remember what I have to do for this. I think I know what I have to do. 3, chain 1, skip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 3 and skip. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and then slip stitch. And then chain 3. Split a yarn. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to skip 2 of them. Do 4. Okay. 3 and 4. Do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and come on. Come on, come on, come on. 3, 4, and 5. We've done the little middle part of the flower. 5, and then 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4. Okay. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 3, 4. 2, 5, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 3 left. Okay, that's good. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, Phew. Alright, I'm literally at the end of my rope of this. And I'm going to join it to the new one. Oh, there's a little bit of that. I don't know where that came from. We'll add that on at the very end if we need to. Oh, got some yarn barf. A lot of yarn barf with this. Okay, I'm just gonna wrap it around. Oh no. Another nasty knot. Well, I'm gonna have a little bit of these little scraps that I can eventually card. Alrighty. I think we're gonna call it a night. I did only one side of that round, but you can see that it's forming the little flower motif that will be eventually look like that. But this, you probably can't see it because even if I zoom, actually no, you can. In this round here, we had one, and then now we have two, and now we're going to work on three of the motifs on the sides. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think we're going to call it a night for that before we end up having another ad. Let's see if there's somebody we can raid. I don't know what they're doing over there. Let's see. I don't know if they're getting ready to leave or not. We'll see. Let me move the keyboard. Alrighty. I'm going to start the raid thing. So I will be on again Tuesday evening for our Apple Day, and probably some more of the blankets. Either that blanket or finally put the border on the camouflage blanket. I have a YouTube channel. Just the link just popped up. All of my previous streams are posted there as soon as I'm done streaming. I also have a Discord. You can join the Discord if you want. And if you do join the Discord, if you don't mind, check out the polls section and do the little poll that I have there for some color combinations of shirt. Just want people's opinion. I think that's it. Getting ready to get into our woodland theme next week. It's already going to be September, believe it or not. So I'm going to leave it there. We're going to go raid. They've raided my stream before. I don't know exactly what they're doing right now. Hold on a second. Let me take a look. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna raid them. It says they're making makers and crafters, but I don't think they're crafting anything at the moment. Let's see. I'm gonna take a little look-see, see if there's anybody else on. If not, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what that is. Yeah, we'll end up rating them. I don't think they... Oh, no, they are. They've switched over to something. They are working on... It's actually diamond painting. I don't diamond paint. But they had raided me a few weeks ago, so I'm going to return the favor. We're going to go raid Captain Casa. So, everybody, join the raid. Give them some love, because they raided me the other week with a lot of people. So I'm just returning the favor. And I will be, again, like I said, on Tuesday for our Apple